everyone. Hey, and I call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioner's Court's order on Friday, January 20th, 2023. This is a special non-voting session. And just a reminder, people can join via Zoom since they're either on it or they're not. No one in here needs to know that, but we are broadcasting via audio and video today via Zoom, and that's, I think, a change from what we've done in the past. All right, so I'm going to move the agenda around a little bit, but here's what we're covering today. Item number 1 is review and discuss regular bills. Number 2 is discussions about purchasing an additional belly dump trailer for Precinct 5. Review draft subdivision order is number 3, and number 4 is review personnel policy. If y'all are okay with it, commissioners, I think we're going to hold off on doing anything with the subdivision order today, since Commissioner Watts is not here. And
I did bring mine though.
okay, well,
Yeah,
good.
so.
Well, who knows? Maybe we'll get enthusiastic about
so,
things.
yeah.
All right. First, since we do have a non-county employee guest in the room, we'll handle item number 2 first, which is discussions about purchasing an additional belly dump trailer for Precinct 5. Josh, you want to come up and visit with us about it?
I need to talk it.
Yeah, because it's the kid. It's got to pick you up. I'm sorry.
And that podium will raise and lower if you,
Yeah, you can raise it up some
you
if
don't
you
want to be a
like.
munch.
Do I need to speak close?
No,
No.
that'll be good.
Okay. All right. So, yes, what I've sent is what all y'all should have is a quote on a construction trailer specialist belly dump. That's the brand that we carry. It is the same brand that Precinct 5 has 3 of from a couple of years ago. Nothing's changed on the design of them. This one is spring rod versus the other ones are air rod.
That's a quick question. Our other ones are all 3 air ride?
Mhm.
Okay.
The only reason for the difference is, as you know, probably, that pricing has just gone stupid. There's no other there's no other description for it. These trailers 4 or 5 years ago were $32,000 to the county, and it's where it's at now is ridiculous. But air ride trailers, we are in discussion with CTS. Our Bruckner's trailer sales manager, corporate trailer sales manager, was not happy with their quote to us on how much the trailers with air ride cost. So he's in discussions with them on trying to get a better price on them. So you can see that price if you want air ride. I mean, that's a $3,500 option probably by the time you put air ride on, and it has to be built, which means they're probably 90 days out on that. The spring ride trailer that I've quoted is in stock. It's still sitting at the factory. It's built. We're just waiting on drive away company to pick it up and deliver it down here. So I would guess that within the month we would have it here. But is there any questions, comments, concerns?
Well, one way to look at that, when you already own 3 of them and they go up that much, that ought to add some equity to our
It
fleet,
should, yes.
which is good. And we've got 3 good ones that have been well maintained. Josh, can you use the air ride to raise that trailer if you want to dump a taller windrow? Is that?
No.
That's not a deal.
No, all it allows you to do, all the air ride does is give it probably a little better ride so that it's not quite so bouncy in the back as it's going down the highway or down the county road.
We got air ride trucks, so
Yeah.
we're in pretty good shape there.
Yeah, that's really going to be, it is a smoother ride. I'm going to say that 95% of the belly dumps I sell are air ride. That's just the way kind of everybody's moving. Just like it took a little bit of time for everybody to move to an air ride tractor.
Yeah.
Now you don't hardly ever buy a spring rod unless it's got a body on it, that's going to be loading and unloading. You don't really use air ride, but
Well, it's good technology. I mean,
Yeah.
That's come a long way in the last 20 years and works well.
So,
No, I didn't real, I was wondering if maybe you could raise that trailer a little. I didn't know if that was
no, in fact,
It's
you wanna
strictly
drop the airbags.
yeah.
You wanna make sure they're right, the
Okay.
bags drop and your truck drops, because you're adding 40,000 pounds, 35,000 pounds of aggregate in that trailer, and then when you unload, and you unload in 5 seconds,
Yeah.
10 seconds, your suspension
Pop up.
can pop up. So you want to make sure that. But I mean, that's pretty standard for anything that's air ride, and you're unloading that kind of weight.
And really, for what we do with those trailers, we don't vary a whole lot in what we're doing. We haul some material out, you know, when we're applying it on the road, and then we stockpile with it, so it's, you know, it's pretty much
Yeah.
standard use. Tires and wheels are the same as the trailers we've got now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And speaking with Jack, they have a truck that they have specified that's going to go underneath that trailer, that he said is about due for a service and brake job.
Mhm.
I think he said brake job. But he's going to schedule that to come in so that when it gets done, the trailer's there, we can hook it up. He wants us to make sure that the connectors would all fit, you know, pretty standard stuff. I mean, nothing on it, but he's got that already in line.
I'm looking at this amount, and it is just shy of the 50,000 bid requirement.
Correct.
Are y'all part of buy board?
So I just got clarification on this. So before the end of the year, yes, and we still have buy board, just not on that trailer.
Okay.
The buy board just went out for bids, and everybody turned in their bids and everything. We turned in ours. The wording on their bid specifications changed, which took away from what we were able to do in the past, and it started January 1. So prior to January 1, yes, we could have done this. I mean, it could have been on buy board and whatnot. Now it has to be, there is no option on it for a co-op at this time. Now, HGAC, I think, goes to bid at the end of this year. That's going to be something that we go to and try to do on HGAC. But again, we're bidding, and HGAC is saying, okay, you get this, you get this, you get that, you have this model, you don't have this. So we go through the bidding process with them like y'all would go through a bidding process with OEM dealers. We're going to go through with HGAC.
But you're telling us this would be
I
a
was
buy
looking
board
at different
program.
It cannot be at this time.
So it's probably not.
I was under the assumption it would be because we did have it.
Right.
It changed January 1.
We have to bid it.
So,
Yeah. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
it's with it,
think
that,
we should go with the air
like we
ride.
talked this morning, with it that close to the threshold,
yeah,
any other business we do with you in the year would then have to be bid out.
correct.
Including our services and
Oh, everything.
repair, I mean,
Yeah.
it's an aggregate 50.
Yeah, and
That's,
unfortunately that is where it's at right now. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know if anybody has a co-op program locally. You
has
know,
it been
I think.
successfully bid on from another governmental agency in Texas?
I'm sorry.
Has another governmental agency went out to bids, gone out for bids, on this trailer in Texas?
I can't answer that. I don't know who got awarded the bid for buy board for this trailer. And I don't know when, I mean, there's several purchasing co-ops, whether it's TIPS or HGAC or buy board. And I don't know, I think HGAC goes out in November,
Yeah.
goes out to bid, maybe October, and then it takes effect January of next year.
So the HGAC is another buying co-op, is that?
Hmm. Yeah, Houston Galveston Area Co-op.
Yeah, I heard of them, you bet.
Yeah, so, but that's gonna be something that we're, of course, bidding on at that time. You never know what you're gonna get awarded. And sometimes they come to you and say, you know what, we're gonna just, they have in the past where they've just been like, okay, 3 dealers get awarded it, and, you know, so it is, we're gonna plan on doing that, but we have no way of knowing whether or not we're gonna get awarded that contract.
And
Yeah.
Commissioner Shaw said we have 3 of these right now.
Yeah.
Is this one is thought to be a replacement for one that's about to go out?
No.
We need a 4th.
No, right now we have 4 precincts that are using 3 trailers. That would just put us 4, or 1 person from each precinct could use it. Could be hauling
And
at
we've
the
got
same
a
time.
tractor available, that's the.
Yeah, we have a truck available to,
If there's another governmental agency, like NCT cog or whatever that is bid, then I think we can use their
Right.
bids, just like we would at HGAC.
Correct.
But
It would
if
go-
not,
it
I
would
think
be-
We're going to have to go out for. bids.
For a bid, yeah. And so, and I don't know, again, I don't know who was awarded what or where they're at or anything like that either. So it's just gonna be a matter of what y'all decide to do on that. But my hands are kind of tied. If this was December, then it wouldn't have been a big deal. But January 1, it changed, so. Which does put a little bit more burden on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With it that close to our threshold.
Yeah.
We take one truck in for service and then
Yeah, it would make
We're
more sense to
cost
do
threshold.
this.
yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've got, I
So-
feel like I've got one in there right now.
I think I do too.
I think we all do.
Man, y'all see these fans? It's getting hot in here. No, so, but that's kind of where I'm at, you know. Again, I was speaking out of turn, I guess, earlier. I didn't realize that January 1, they started a new contract, so. But that's kind of where we're at, so.
Got a tremendous fleet of single axle dump trucks
That, yeah,
they're nice, low mileage.
I hear they are.
They are.
They're great for the wintertime, not so great for the summer,
That's part of it too.
so.
Any other
Uh,
questions?
I'll help any way I can, but just let me know what.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Wow. Voice from heaven.
yes.
I missed the very first part of that about what's Josh saying about January.
Oh, that would be
Buy
that
board change.
buy board changed January 1. So we do not have the contract on this particular trailer through buy board any longer. Prior to January 1, we could have, but after that, we cannot.
Who has it, Josh?
I don't know. I'd have to, and I don't know that the guy that I talked to did not know who had it either. That's something that I'd have to find out. I feel like I should be looking. Should I look at him? Yeah.
This is a new experience
Yeah.
for everyone.
No, I don't.
Can you
I don't know.
call CMT and ask them?
Oh, yeah, I can find out who has it, I'm sure.
Okay. But can you not direct that through them? Say it's XYZ International out of Houston. Can you not piggyback off of them?
If they allow it.
Okay.
Which dealers do that because I just give them a usage fee, if you will, you know, that so, I mean, it is a possibility. We've done that before in the past.
Okay. But you'll check on that.
Yes, yeah, it's just
Okay.
gonna take me a little bit of legwork, not 10 minutes of sitting out in the hallway finding this out and going, oh, crap. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I can find that out.
Perfect. All righty. Thank you, Josh.
All right, thank you.
All right, any other questions from Anyone here or
or above.
disembodied voice?
All right,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming in early.
Oh, yeah. Next time I'll bring a potato cheese burrito since I can't afford eggs.
Have a good day.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Into the grocery store.
All right, let's review and discuss regular bills. Because Tanya wants to make sure that we save the best for last.
I'm trying to find them. I'm having a hard time pulling them up this morning.
Put it in Wednesday
I may
morning.
not, I've got going back far enough to bed.
11:44.
Yeah.
We're on a strange week, aren't
11:44 Wednesday morning.
we? Okay.
Yep, Mark.
Right
There.
there they are. There they are. I didn't figure they would go away.
Speaker worked out nice. That works.
I tell you what, if he can hear as good as we can, that's gonna be a major improvement. Cause anytime I tried to use that old system, which I understand was a totally different deal, that my biggest problem, and Nikki, you used it a few times, boy, you could hardly hear it.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it. And
It
Mark
was really
was the worst.
difficult.
He couldn't hear Mark at all.
Yeah.
Jeff and you,
This is excellent, excellent.
can you hear us pretty good, Jeff?
Oh, super good.
Yeah, you sound like the voice of God right above us, so.
Yeah, be advised, every time you chime in, we wanna repent.
Yeah.
So. Be careful.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
sound very good.
it's excellent. I
It's good.
can make out everybody and every word, so just great.
Well, Jeff, since
Well,
you're
I'm
on
sorry
the-
I said
on the
that about you
speaker,
earlier then, Jeff, just never mind. Yeah.
Is anybody with the auditor's office on?
Cheryl's on.
Cheryl is on.
Yeah, I'm on. Margaret should be on too.
Jeff,
Okay.
Jeff, you want to ask them the question since you know?
Yeah, I had, Cheryl, we, of course, every day hauling gravel, and then as those tickets come, the leasing is generating a invoice on or not an invoice, but an invoice each day.
A ticket,
And
a
we're
ticket number.
approving- Yes, and we're approving those for payment each time. We have to be cautious about not receiving a statement from the leasing to pay? Because if we receive the statement, that number is going to be different than what our ticket numbers actually are.
We'd be paying both. I mean, we're approving those ticket numbers as they come in, and then at the end of the month, they send us an invoice that has a different
Yes.
invoice number, and it doesn't list
And
those
that-
ticket numbers on there.
And as long as we're checking that invoice against those ticket numbers, we're fine, but because the invoice number would be different than the statements that we're receiving daily, our system, I was concerned, wouldn't catch, it catches a duplicate ticket when you type in the same invoice number, but in this regard, it's different.
Yeah, we're paying from the invoice and not the tickets, but the invoice has all of the ticket numbers on there.
Okay, so if you received a statement for the month of January on February the 1st, would we know that those are already all paid?
Well, we pay from an invoice and not a statement, but we do typically, and they don't send us statements, Margaret says. So we just get that invoice that has all of the ticket numbers on them.
Okay, so they're considering those to be their monthly billing, even though they're doing it daily?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. I just didn't want to, Debbie tracks that, but she then wouldn't necessarily see how it's paid, but I just didn't want to, get myself into a bind approving those and then them hitting us again for
Yeah.
payment. Okay. Perfect. That's what I wanted to know.
Oh, good.
Cheryl and or Margaret, this is Jim. We have an invoice for Alpha Omega Wireless for 15,000 on here. This may be a different thing, though the invoice date is the same for what we chose to take off of the court agenda this week. Do y'all know anything about that?
I do.
Oh, Brendan says he does.
The $15,000 invoice is for my equipment and my radios. The $6,000 one is for Lee's and his radios.
Okay.
So
Right.
that's what
Yeah.
we pay for our stuff.
Good deal.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, I have a bill question for the auditor. In my precinct, I'm showing a $959 bill for gas for 1 month usage. $959 to heat a building seems a little outrageous.
Especially
So-
mild as it's been.
Yeah, it hadn't been a bad winter at all, so.
We got burn gas that didn't work well.
Say what? I need to figure out what do I do? Do y'all call somebody on that? Or
Is that an Atmos bill?
Yeah, Atmos Energy, $959.
I had that a couple of years ago, and I had one spike like that, and I got the service tech to
We-
meet me out there.
We may need to have them, Margaret says we can call, we probably need to have the meter reread.
Okay, if we can, I don't wanna pay that one until we get something done. But if you would have
Okay.
Margaret call my
Yeah,
foreman and
we
meet him
can-
there or something.
We can just pull that check out and hold it until we call and get a reread.
Okay. That's normal. Precinct 3's is $134. Mine's $959. That's about normal.
Margaret says they don't usually read those every month, so that's probably what they're doing, it's probably a misread or they're guessing.
Yeah. that's-
So we'll just call them and have them read it and then we'll fix the bill.
Okay. Thank you.
The Park Air travel, and it's probably just an entry item description thing, but it's got Ontario in there. Is that just a,
That's picking up an inmate.
okay. Dang.
Where is it at?
There's this one, 472, and then there's this one that's 1700.
Yeah. They're flying. I used to.
That's one inmate?
That's the officer flying out there to pick them up.
Yeah, the officer, one bill is for 2 deputies,
Yeah.
Okay.
so they gotta fly out
Yeah.
and then one for the inmates, so.
Okay.
2 deputies, 1 inmate.
Thank you.
Can you get an inmate through security, Mickey?
They let you. I
Oh,
mean,
they
back in the day,
special.
I mean, yeah, you use special deal.
Okay,
They're-
I never thought of that.
Everything there's special, cause you have a gun on, it's special.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it before where they wouldn't let you handcuff them on a plane. You
Really?
had to have them unhandcuffed, some airlines, but I don't know nowadays if they wear belly chains or not, but at one time, you
Yeah.
couldn't, you
I
had
just
to,
never thought about the security deal.
you had to take them on the plane, get them set down, and then uncuff them.
I have a hard enough time getting on the plane.
Well, I was about to say, are you thinking of ways to get around the?
I mean, it's just, I just never thought about the security deal, but I guess that's pretty common, is moving them around the country.
Yeah.
Another challenge that,
It's expensive too, cause you gotta go get them.
yeah. You don't give them a bus ticket and tell them to show up, do you?
Is that truck that's gonna go under the new trailer, is that a precinct 5 truck?
I can't answer that, Jeff.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I thought,
Is it gonna stay a precinct 5 truck?
Yes.
When we run out of money in precinct 5, where's it gonna go?
Well, it stays at precinct 5, we just will contribute to precinct 5
Oh, okay,
differently than what we always have.
okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
We can.
Real well.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't get the volume to work, so thank you.
And it's a meeting this week with a friend of mine that's commissioner in a smaller county out in West Texas, and he said they only meet once a month. I said, we'd never get through if we only met once a month, time you go through the bills.
Yeah, a bunch of counties do it every
Yeah.
other week. But not as big as us. All right.
At one of my conferences, they had us raise our hands, how many of you counties meet every week? And probably about 10 or 12 of us raised our hands, and we heard so many people go, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
None of them meet twice a week.
If we only met once a month, it'd be a long day.
We're the only one I've ever heard of that meets twice a week.
Yeah.
Wichita County is known for excellence.
That's it.
That's right.
I'm telling you, doing
Going
this,
above and
And if
beyond.
it hasn't been, it should be.
but Judge, doing this bill review is something we didn't always do, and we implemented that. I think it's been a good program.
Yeah.
It gives us time to look through and ask questions, and I think it's been beneficial.
Well, also having a more informal work session. We can
Yes.
bring things in and discuss them.
You can hear voices from above and.
All right, if y'all are still looking.
I'm good.
One of the things that happened when we first started doing this, we began to, and we'd sit at the table and just go through invoices. And one of the first things we found was we were still being charged, fuel surtax. Those increased charges from way back when fuel prices went up, and they were still on there. They were still charging that, and there was no, so we went through and cleaned all that up. And that's the kind of things you find when you take time to go through and look.
Yeah, the oddities are getting fewer and further between, but we find them.
Yeah. Well, it's good just to keep an eye on what's going on. All right.
Good.
Are you good, Barry?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, Mark?
Yep.
Okay. We'll move on to reviewing the personnel policy.
Oh, Joel.
Fun.
So I was not here last week, but heard y'all did excellent work and got to 4.06. Is that right?
We went through, we're starting on 4.07, attendance, timeliness, on call.
Okay. And I think Tanya sent the newest one out this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yep, should be in your
I did, I'm
emails.
sorry,
I
it's
just
late.
went to the old one, let me pull it up.
And on mine, I can't see. Some lucky person in the courthouse has gotten several copies of the personnel policy manual because I can't print our printer. And the only print I have right now is in black and white, so I cannot see my highlighted,
I can print what you
changes.
sent.
Well, I think it's gonna be sort of okay.
Where are we?
It's 4.07. I think it's page 52 on the page
Yes.
numbers.
We're there.
Yeah, let me just print you out a couple of color.
Okay.
What pages do you want to have?
Well, we didn't, really get through the exempt, non-exempt section, and that may need a meeting of its own. But I think there weren't that many, just section 4, because we finished 3 before, so it's just 4, so.
I'll also
6.
print off section 5. I'm confident, I'm optimistic in our chances today.
4.05.
Let's roll.
Maybe. I probably could.
So I've got a question on 4.071. Oh, no, well, it's a double 4.071, but the lactation breastfeeding breaks. I learned last week that that is the only required break by law. So I just wanted to make sure this section, Tony, is that in compliance with federal law on everything for that section?
The lactation one?
Uh-huh.
I think it is, because. And we do have a room, if y'all didn't know that,
At the courthouse.
at the courthouse.
I don't think we've got a,
The annex has one
does
too.
it have a?
It does have one.
I believe so, over by that veterans office, there's like a little weird room. It's weird. No, I don't know. I don't, obviously, no people. I'm the only one that knows about
Maybe
it.
like making $250,000 just sitting at home working,
Hello?
right?
Who's that?
I don't know, but $250,000 for doing your homework's pretty good motivation, I think.
Huh. Okay, I don't know about the LEC though, if they have a room, but they can designate one.
Yeah, they need to designate one.
If we have the need.
Yeah.
All right, any questions on 4.07?
4.702, the last sentence, frequent or unexcused absences or tardiness may cause, I think it should, I mean, frequent or unexcused absences will be subject to disciplinary measures up to and including termination. Goes without saying, if you're,
Well, that's true, but we can't determine what every elected official and department head is gonna allow. I mean, yes, it makes common sense,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
yeah,
I
it
think
just
they're leaving
seems
it.
like, oh, well, yeah, we may or we may not, we don't really care, it's,
I think elected officials have some leeway, if
Yeah,
there's
they still have-
if there's circumstances that
that's-
were to arise that
And-
may, I mean, I don't know
and
if that's
that whole
unexcused.
paragraph before explains
Yeah.
that if it's due to circumstantial reasons, then, but if it's a frequent,
Well, and it says unexcused, so if
Yeah.
it's gonna be excused, it's because your supervisor or elected official excused it. But if it's unexcused, and that's, I think that's clarified in that statement.
yeah. So I think the may cause comes out and just,
Yeah.
yeah. Just me personally.
Melvin really wants you to replace may with shall.
I'm good.
No, I just take it out entirely, you know.
Say will.
Frequent or unexcused absences or
Will
tardiness
cause,
will
will.
cause, and
Yeah.
Okay.
Any others on 407? Okay. Moving on to 408, travel. I had a question on 408.5 meals. It says 3 meals at up to $19 a meal. I thought it was 20.
It is, we need to update that.
Change
Okay.
it. Okay.
that the new federal number?
Yes. I'm
Especially,
hoping they'll raise that again, but we'll see.
especially for breakfast if you're having eggs.
So in the, actually in the budget policy, and I think there's a court order that actually says it'll be, no, that's mileage. We'll be at the federal mileage rate. This one is set at $20.
Okay. And then I also have a question on 408.9, traveling by privately owned vehicle. When a privately owned vehicle is the approved travel option, the traveler will be reimbursed at 10 cents per mile less than the federal rate?
No, that needs to be changed as well. We took that out by court order we are reimbursing at the full federal mileage rate.
Okay, so strike 10 cents per mile less.
Yep.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily policy related, but who in the county still receives a vehicle allowance?
Constable 4, I think, is the only one that still receives a vehicle allowance.
Okay. And then I noticed we do not have a section on purchase cards, since that's a fairly new policy.
Yeah.
Do we need to add another subsection in here just talking about those?
We probably should, yes.
So purchase
The
cards.
4.08.9 first bullet point,
Okay.
and it talks about not limited to fuel, oil, repairs, maintenance, depreciation. Would-
I don't know that any of that is needed because
Yeah.
we're reimbursing the mileage and the mileage rate and
Yeah, if it's time for my oil change and I'm out on a county trip, I'm gonna pull into the oil change place and send you the bill.
So take it
yeah,
out.
I think we can strike out, almost all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, great job.
there we go. I need new tires.
I think the only thing we need to keep is how we're calculating the mileage rate, the mileage.
Yeah, let's take that out. That could be interpreted really broadly.
Yeah, agreed.
And Cheryl, don't you all have a chart of some kind for that mileage, or isn't it something?
No, we stick it into Google Maps or something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And it has to be from your workplace
Mm-hmm.
to where you're going. Because mileage from home to work is not a deductible expense for the IRS. So we do mileage from your courthouse or your annex or wherever your primary work location is to wherever you're going.
Is that,
At the state, they figured that map rate based on the shortest distance route, not the one you necessarily took. Is that how we do it as well?
Yes.
does that even apply if you can take a different route to avoid tolls? I mean, you take the most economical route?
Yeah, cause I avoid tolls. I'll go 10 miles to avoid $1.50.
I
Get the full tag.
I mean, it's really easy to go to Austin through Fort Worth if you pay the $8 worth of tolls to get through Fort
Damn
Worth.
straight. That's the best
Yeah.
$8 you'll spend.
It is,
Saving
but-
40
It
minutes.
is the best $8.
But, I
And we
mean,
reimburse a lot of tolls, so.
yeah, I know, but wouldn't that be,
County reimburses tolls.
No. Oh, I didn't think so.
She just said they did.
County reimburses tolls?
When you're on the road for trips, yeah.
I didn't know that.
yeah,
I didn't know
That's
that.
how.
I turn my tolls in.
Huh.
I always use express lane through the Metroplex,
That's
but
what
I've never turned it in.
I mean, I never
Yeah.
turn mine in,
Yeah.
but we have reimbursed for tolls, yeah.
Okay. I think tolls should probably be in here.
Well, you're gonna need to have them in there if we're paying them.
Yeah.
Well, cause we get tide pass, or toll tags bills all the time from precinct vehicles or sheriff, and it's not really any different to pay that when you guys go to training and you go through toll. Some tolls are unavoidable.
If you're going into Austin, it's kind of hard to avoid.
Oh, you can't.
Absolutely.
You
Lot
can,
more.
but you're gonna drive a lot further, and that's what's,
Mhm.
that paragraph is really subjective, then it's, what's the most economical route?
So toll
Yeah, but then
costs-
that requires
Yeah.
my staff, I mean, that's really
Yeah.
hard for my
Your
staff to
time.
know what the
Yeah.
most economical route is. We don't know where all the tolls are.
In my opinion, it should be shortest distance, and
That's what we typically do, is the shortest distance.
Well, that's
And then if you turn in a toll, great, we'll reimburse it, but
Okay.
Do you want that in there about the tolls then?
I think we
Toll
really
costs
need.
will-
yeah, I mean, the fact that at least two of us up here didn't know that indicates it should, we probably need to make everybody aware.
Okay.
Isn't it on the reimbursal sheet though? Isn't-
it is.
Okay.
I believe it is on the reimbursement
It
sheet,
is.
yes.
It's on there.
I just don't go down toll roads unless I have to.
In or out?
Yeah, we need to,
I have an iPass, so I never see it.
We went
Well,
to-
you don't ever go to Oklahoma City then, do you?
Throw that
Oh, I
change in, baby.
well, I got my
anymore.
iPass back
Not
in
anymore.
Yeah, not
college.
anymore.
Yeah.
they just send me a bill.
Yeah.
I don't ever see it.
They've taken all the toll booths out, have they not?
They have taken all the toll booths out, and it's actually cheaper if you have a pipe pass or a toll tag than if they bill us directly.
I just can't hardly drive that way with my trucks because it's too rough.
It'll beat
The
you.
back roads are so much
So
better.
we need to put in,
Do you have-
Okay, so Tanya, looks like we're gonna need to add in the tolls and.
I have toll costs will be reimbursed for business related travel.
Yeah, and then, we
I'd say
might
that's for
clarify
your
that-
shortest
that
distance.
mileage to be the shortest
And
distance.
I've got that too to put in.
Perfect.
Purchase cards are available for, payment of hotels, parking and hotel tax, but do you want, the purchase cards are available for county departments or I don't know how you want me to word that.
I think we could probably just almost cut and paste from that letter that you sent
Okay.
out, Cheryl.
Yeah, I can send you that, Tanya.
I got
on
the-
If it's,
I have an email.
if it's cheaper to do these tolls with a pipe pass, then do we have
Yeah.
pipe passes that we can take if we're going to school?
if you've already got one on your car, I don't know what it would do. I've got a pipe pass on my car.
You might short the whole system
Drive down with 6 different podcasts on your windshield. That's a good question.
I mean, she just said it was cheaper, so if it's cheaper and I don't have one, is it good to take one from the county if
I
you're going
think
to
it
school?
has to be registered to a specific
It does.
license
Oh, does it?
plate.
Okay.
It does. They're free to apply for.
Yeah, it's,
I guess I'll get one if it's cheaper, but I
you
don't
can drive up to
usually use 'em.
Walters and it takes about 3 minutes to get one from Oklahoma.
Yeah, you have to have a different one, don't you?
No?
No, they've got them all.
No,
I've got a Texas one.
Yeah.
Texas and Oklahoma will interchange, so if you have a pipe pass, it'll work on the Texas toll roads. If you have a toll tag, it works on the Oklahoma ones as well.
Yeah, because
They're
earlier,
inter-
Houston, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth all had different companies running them and they wouldn't communicate together, which was a lot of fun. But now, all of the Texas ones do. You're fine in Oklahoma. I've not been to a state recently where they
It's
didn't talk to
Texas,
each other.
Oklahoma, and Kansas.
Yeah, mine
does Kansas.
Yeah.
Mine is Kansas.
Last time I looked, it was one of the most confusing bills. Do I owe anything or not? I mean, it's really
Well,
not,
they just charge you automatically, you don't,
oh yeah,
you just, every time you get below $30, they
they
charge you.
they
your
draw,
credit card.
yeah.
All right, any other questions or thoughts on the rest of section 4.08? Okay, let's head on to section 5 then.
I do have a quick
Oh,
question.
okay, go ahead.
And this is just a question via the email and this policy both, but these P cards, I'm assuming
Yes.
that's a credit card we're supposed to use now if we go to school. if we use our own credit card, is that something I need to pick up from the auditor's office if you're going out of town? Or can we use
Yeah.
our own and still turn it in like we did before?
You can still do that if you choose. We did the P cards for those who didn't put their hotels on their own credit cards. They were using county cards and getting, credit card authorizations approved by hotels. They would lose them or not take them at all. And then people would try to check in and it would be a nightmare. So
So if we want to use our own, it's still fine.
it's absolutely fine. You just fill out your reimbursement like you used to and we'll go on.
That's all.
down the road.
Thank you.
Easiest way.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that's good. All right, section 5. I do think that we will probably want to have a broader discussion about accrual policies and other things later on. This is just for what our policy is now and how it's reflected in the document.
So 5.011, we have that word may again. All regular employees whose average standard work week is in excess of 30 hours may participate in benefits or?
Right,
will.
so I think the may participate is those extra benefits that we offer. You're not required to participate in all of the dental, vision, helicopter, whatever
Yeah.
that we're offering.
Yep, that statement sounds like you can opt out of the benefits that are provided. Should that sentence not be rewritten to
I think
more
that-
accurately reflect that?
I think the next sentence covers that.
I think the next sentence covers that, yeah.
Because you can't decline the ones that are part of your salary package.
Right, which is your retirement and your health insurance.
Yeah, you could actually not use it, but you won't be reimbursed for it, so.
That's correct.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Well, can we put a clarifier of some sort before the word benefits, so extra benefits or, I don't,
Optional benefits.
optional, thank you.
Yeah.
There's the word,
There's the
optional
word.
benefits.
So we could just say may participate in the optional
Optional
benefits.
benefits, yes, I think that would be more clear,
Okay.
because
Okay.
just reading this as a entry employee, oh, I wanna opt out of my benefits, I don't want to need medical insurance.
Yeah, but then it says it may not be declined.
Yeah.
So,
But that just clarifies it.
okay.
Thank you. Are we still using SharePoint?
Were you no, I
Yes,
said
but I think it's not called SharePoint.
Yeah, we need to,
the
and
county internet.
benefit plan
Yeah.
changes, that needs to come out.
Hold on, Mark. Thank you. Which grade summary plans would be available in the employee benefits folder on the county internet. Okay, and what was the other one, Mark?
501.2, employee benefits folder in SharePoint.
I got that.
Madison.
Last paragraph of that.
Yeah, each current summary plan description is available in employee benefits folder in SharePoint.
Yeah, I've got that changed too on the Wichita County intranet.
Okay, all right, that's it,
Okay.
for right now.
Who's the teacher now?
Got your red pen out?
Sorry.
Fido.
Somebody wants some attention.
When does the court typically adopt the holiday schedule for the following year? Is that in December or is it earlier than that?
It's usually May or June, somewhere, if,
Oh.
the district judges make up the list, and then
Okay.
they send them to us.
Okay.
You ready to snip some of those out there, are you?
No, I'm
So-
just curious.
Again, wording wise on 5.021, all county officials and regular employees whose average standard work week is in excess of 30 hours shall be eligible. We're providing it. It's not optional.
It's will, yeah, it needs to be will.
Yeah, will be provided coverage instead of shall be eligible. So will be provided coverage under county.
Mhm. The county's health insurance program, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheryl, how do you, under 5.02.4, we need to put in there, that they can make these changes in employee self-serve
Yes.
first.
Yes, first. And their employee self-service is active even when they leave the county. So if they need to make an address change before we fill out, W-2s or whatever, it will push it through to us and notify us if they'll make those changes in ESS, and then they can still download all their pay stubs and tax documents. And this will be the last year we do paper copies of W-2s. We'll be sending out that information later this year.
I thought you had to get a paper. I thought you had to give that by federal law, a paper copy.
No, you do not. In fact, the federal government doesn't even give a paper copy. They give an electronic copy.
You just have to
Because
print
we
it
have
out
to,
on your
we have to
county printer.
provide a copy. It doesn't say we have to make a paper copy.
Okay, so I have it worded as status changes may be reported by the employee in the Munis Employee Self-Serve Program. Does that sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
So under qualified status change events, so explain what a significant change in coverage or cost to you, your spouse, or your dependent's child's benefits. That, what,
We had an example recently. We had a young lady who was on her parents' insurance, and they cut her off. And so now she needs insurance, and so our benefits. So that is a change in her benefit, And it's if you go through a divorce. and
yeah, well,
your
that's
husband
covered under,
I think what you're asking is a significant change looks
Yeah.
different to different people, and how do you determine what that
yeah, I
is?
mean, if,
If there was any question, I know with the one we had this week, Sonia did call, what's the lady's name, Barbara? I think it's Barbara, but she called to run it by to see if that counted as a change in that status, and it did. So if there's any
my wife
question.
has external insurance and it costs $300 a month, and all of a sudden it goes to, who's determining what, how do we determine if that's a significant change or not?
Well, and it
in
doesn't
order-
come up very often, and Mickey, can I use you as an example? He came in asking, because it wasn't it about 6 months ago when you were thinking about changing insurance or dropping one? And I don't know whatever happened with that, but
I dropped the city.
you dropped, so.
Because I've been paying for it for years, and they're the same coverage,
Yeah,
and I couldn't, one wouldn't supplement the other,
yeah.
so the only reason I kept it in case I don't get reelected, that's the only way I can go back and get that
Yeah.
insurance. But
So that's a change that, I mean, it's a valid change.
so I paid for it for several years for nothing.
So
Peace
I'll
of
just
mind.
devil's
Sorry.
advocate again on that. So changing coverage or cost, so family member gets cancer and gets dropped off of their policy. Now, they wanna come and get part of our policy.
And that's the optional coverages, so that's
Well,
not, that's something they
It'd still be
pay
covered
for.
under our general medical. I mean, they changed their coverage. Now they come, okay, I'm no longer covered under this insurance and now I wanna get on mid-year.
That one I don't think, but because they've got a pre-existing condition, if that's what you're saying, they're not gonna cover them anyhow.
Well, and I think
But-
Obamacare, they couldn't change it because of that, but.
Yeah, you-
That's why I'm having a hard time understanding that sentence. Okay.
Well, I think it's just gonna be a case by case basis, so I'm not really sure how we can define it, other than,
A significant change in coverage or
Yeah.
cost. If you can't afford your other insurance that your kids are currently on, or if your husband's
They're certainly
retired,
gonna go to 4 hours.
you can, they still have to pay for it. I mean,
Yeah.
they have to pay for it, but the kids are not covered and they need to be covered, so.
Okay. I'll leave it alone. I just, it's not really clear to me what we're trying to do there.
I haven't had very many of them though.
You can say I told you so in 6 months when this comes up and we're having to.
If it's not clear to me, it's not gonna be clear to our average employee, so.
Mark, a lot of times things are clear, it's just your version is what's clear to you.
Well, I know, that's,
I can identify with that, like, well, that's not what I think that says. It's very clear, that's not what it says.
Alright. That, everyone good with 502 now?
I think so.
Alright, Cobra, everyone's favorite.
Cobra Kai.
Mhm.
I've always,
You're in another place.
I've always been curious if this Cobra they're talking about is, original Shelby, or is it is it a kit car, or what is it? They don't care.
Sweep the leg,
It
Johnny.
sure makes a difference in the value.
The value of that Cobra ain't very good at all, I can tell you that.
Group health plan. So basically, if you leave, you can continue to buy it at your expense, is the way I understand that.
that is correct.
Is it limited in time? I mean, can you only do it for a year, or, I don't see any.
Yes, there is a limit on the times,
6 months.
6 months?
Yeah.
I didn't see that, but I bet it's in here somewhere.
I don't think.
I thought it was closer to a year, Tanya, or 18 months.
Let me check then.
Let's check that one.
Okay.
Yeah, and if, let's state that in the policy, how
Okay.
long they can keep it.
I would assume there's a rule for that.
Yeah, all of that's
Sure
covered by
there
federal
is.
law.
That's all covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would be helpful if that was stated within the policy, what the timeout is.
And it is the goofiest thing because you can choose not to do it for a certain period of time until you get sick or something
Then
happens.
pick it up.
Then you can go back and retroactively pick it up.
Really?
You can.
And then it'll be good for the 6 months after you retroactively do it,
Or just for the remaining time available?
probably for the 6 months.
Thanks for the whole time.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, what happens if you're, I guess if you're already involved, and let's say you're treating something and then the 6 months passes, are you grandfathered in?
I don't know.
Because some of that treatment goes on for, you know, an extended period of time.
We got dogs barking and horns honking and.
Just another Friday in court. Yeah, I don't know that we're gonna touch the Cobra section because that's all very specific to
It's done
what the
for
feds,
us.
yeah.
Who is our Cobra administrator? Is that you?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
And
Yes.
we send them the information, and it's their responsibility to contact, and a lot of them will call us and say, I need to sign up for Cobra. Well, read your packet, but, it's all on the employee, so.
Let's just find that date, that timeout on the top and put it in
Okay.
one of the lines that,
All right.
yeah, Cobra terminates after 6 months or a year or whatever. Or you're eligible to receive Cobra for up to, whatever, a statement.
Okay, I'll get it in there.
Okay. All right, heading on to 504 then, retirement benefits.
Well, I know on 3, I'd like to change in 5.04.3, employees can create an online account. Employees should create an online account.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are strongly encouraged to.
And I'm
Yeah.
really proud of Precinct 2 guys came in and all created their online accounts. So, thank you, Mickey.
We strive to be
The best.
the best.
He won't be so proud of that next month when they all retire. That'll come back to haunt you at some point. You've created a monster, Mickey.
I've got nothing.
Yeah, that's all pretty,
Yeah.
The,
Informative and clear.
yeah.
the only thing on 504.4 is, we do currently contribute at 7%, but that's subject to change annually, even though I don't think we would ever change it, but it is subject to change.
Part of the budget process.
It is part of the budget process,
So, should there be a line in there explaining that?
It does earlier in the policy,
Yeah.
but when you
Oh,
get to
okay.
this point,
Yeah.
you're saying,
Well, should I
if we forget to update the manual sometime, if we ever do that, which I hope we don't,
Especially if
That's-
we make a change that big and significant.
yeah, it's mandatory retirement plan contributions are currently at 7% gross salary. There's no option for employees to elect or contribute more or less than the amount approved by Commissioners Court annually.
Salary reductions are subject to change, according to the budget year, or
What?
At the discretion of the
at the
Commissioner's
district
Court.
court? Okay, okay.
Yeah, it just, to me, it needs to be restated there, that the current retirement contribution plan is 7% gross salary. And it's subject to discretion annually,
Yeah. And you're right, it is up front at the very top, but
yeah.
Guys, I don't think that 7% is ever a changeable amount.
I think it is, I think we elect that annually, what our deductible, what our.
No, that's
I think
only
DRS sets that.
TCDRS, that's their policy.
I think that's the
And
amount.
we have no ability to change 7% whatsoever. We have the ability to add to our contribution. So we add 14, we take the 7% and we match it 2 times. That's our ability to change, but 7%, since inception, that's been the way TCDRS is. Well, our
I think
ability to
that's
pay
correct.
I think it is
I
too.
the
think
contribution.
I think that's correct.
Sure,
Look-
I think the issue though is that, I mean, the county could theoretically at some
Do one to
point
one.
decide not to do retirement through TCDRS, and I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
there's the leeway to do that, so.
I think we can opt it at 5%, but I may be wrong,
I
I may be
Mark, I
wrong.
don't think we can. I think it is.
I think so, yeah, it's a state law.
I think we had that argument a couple of years ago when we were looking at it, but I may be wrong.
But we can still leave the that sentence in
Yeah.
as far as subject to the discretion of the commissioner's court, because that would be
Yeah.
the match, or,
Yeah.
you know, the percent you guys match, or what. So I
Okay.
think we'll just leave it.
Okay. All right.
We'll send any questions or concerns to Commissioner Mueller on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
because I think we want to give ourselves the flexibility to adjust that match how we need to when the time's appropriate. And just like Jim said, there might be a time that TCDRS is not our provider.
Right, but I think we would just change the policy then completely, that our mandatory plan contribution would be whatever we're gonna go with.
Correct. Yeah.
Broadly, this just needs to be informative and clear for employees now based
Yeah,
on what it is.
That is
Correct.
subject to change. That is what it is currently, it's not chiseled in stone and set in law by the Medes and Persians, so.
Okay, so the next is 5.04.6. The amount the county actually pays into the plan is actuarially determined each year based on funding requirements.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we kinda got that sense, so
Well,
didn't go far enough.
I can tell you what the number is though. It's 940-337.
hey, you're letting everybody in the world know a phone number.
Yeah, who is that?
That's Jeff.
Who we call, no, who we calling?
Thanks, Jeff.
This
Everybody call this person.
86753.
539.
It's
All right.
it's a takeout pizza place. It's nearly lunchtime.
Anyone else on 504? Jeff's trying to talk, but he's been muted, so. All right, 505, Social Security.
Which may or may not be funded.
Can we petition the federal government to get out of it?
Yeah.
5.04.8 mentioned SharePoint again, but
Which one is it?
5.04.8 mentioned SharePoint folders, something in there.
Oh, yeah, I
Okay.
can see that. Holidays.
Well, I have spent the last few minutes trying to log into my TCDRS account and it's not doable. So I'm gonna move on to something else. I'm gonna get back in the discussion.
Oh, goodness.
I tried.
All right, 506, Holidays.
It keeps saying who's?
So we call out 8 hours. Cheryl, how does it work with law enforcement when they're working in a 12-hour holiday? Is there a different standard for that, or? how do they
Yeah,
handle that?
they get their full, I'll have to check on that. It might just be if they're actually working, then they get their 8 hours of holiday in addition to
Okay.
their 12-hour shift.
But if they're not working, they would get the full, if it's a 12-hour
Yes,
shift, they
I
get the
believe
full
that is
12-hour
correct.
shift off.
Whatever their typical workday is,
Okay,
yeah.
so do we need to take that 8 hours in the brackets?
We might
out?
need to clarify that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll probably need to add a sentence, about law enforcement, since they work different shifts.
or just the first day of employment to receive pay for a full shift off or receive a day or a full shift's pay for each county holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And just leave the 8 hours off, so it's a shift, whatever that shift is identified as.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got, law enforcement personnel will receive pay for their regularly scheduled shift, or for the length or amount of hours of their regular shift.
Yeah, we can work on that wording, Tanya.
Gotcha. Okay.
Non-exempt employees who are required to work on an official holiday shall be paid for any excess working hours. What's that?
That means if you're required to work, it's your day to work, you'll get your 8 hours holiday, plus you will get your work, but it's not overtime. I mean, you'll get,
Right.
16 hours that day if you're working an 8 hour shift.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Anyone else on holidays?
Still reading.
Oh,
One second. Okay. Good.
all right. Let's head on to 507 vacation policy. Did we end up at the 84 hours number because of the folks who do 12-hour shifts instead of just 80?
I think it just, I don't know how we got to that. It's been 7 hours per month since inception, pretty much. I don't know how far back that goes.
For the first 10 years of employment, employees earn 84 hours of vacation per year at a rate of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that.
Okay.
I don't know how they got to the 7 hours per
It
month.
was
It's
redone.
been that way. for
We did
long.
that, we addressed sick leave and vacation time. Oh, good grief, it was many years ago, because we went through that large payoff deal.
Mm.
And that's when we set that, but I don't remember the discussion as to why that number came up, but that was
I'm
addressed
wondering if
during.
it had
It would have
something
been
to do
7,
with
8 years ago, something
207K
like
for the
that.
law enforcement,
Yeah.
but we don't follow that anymore. I mean, we follow the 80 hours, and 207K is you don't pay overtime until after 84 hours. That's the lowest level, so I'm wondering if that's where that came from. Don't know. That makes sense to
You're
me.
talking about when the comp time was done away with,
When, I'm sorry, what?
when comp time was done away with,
Yeah, when was that?
2011.
Oh, yeah, well, that was over
So-
10 years ago.
Yeah, so let me look for something in that year.
It's kind of sad that I've inherited the historian of the court
Yeah, you're
instead of
the-
Willie Wall.
Yep.
Where's Willie? Like, oh, I remember. Wow, 11. I thought it was, I knew it was quite a while ago. It wasn't too long after I came on the court because, and what started the discussion is we did about $1 billion payoff on accrued time.
Mhm.
That was unbudgeted deal, and that was tough to do, and that's when we went to work on it.
And I wish we could highlight 5.07.6, because most people don't know that.
Right.
And
Wow, yeah.
Maybe we should just bold it.
Yeah, you can.
And so you stop accruing vacation if you're placed on leave without pay.
Leave without pay,
You
and then
stop-
you must
you
work
stop for
4
a month.
weeks,
Yeah.
4 40-hour weeks before you start accruing again. And I always look at when people send in to the auditor for payroll, they'll put so-and-so, doc, 30 minutes. Technically, that's leave without pay, but it's a person who does have leave, so quit putting doc, because doc means leave without pay.
Right, and we just use their PTO to fill it in, their vacation time. We clarify that unless they truly don't have any to take, and
Right.
then they're docked.
So there was a vacation policy that was adopted in November of 2011. It's talked about 84 hours. I'm looking at the number.
I don't know how we came with that number, Nancy, I can't recall.
Let me, here's
It had to have something to do with
Well, it's 7 times 12.
It says
Yeah.
the law enforcement deal.
employees earn 84 hours, 10 and a half days of vacation per year for the first 10 years of employment. Vacation accrues at the rate of 7 hours per month.
And it's probably because most places are gonna tell you, you get 2 weeks vacation a year
Yeah.
as 80 hours.
And that
that's
wouldn't
the
be
closest
true
way
for-
we could do it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be true for a law enforcement officer then, and I bet that's why that was adjusted.
Yeah, city accrual was 4.616 hours per pay period. You got a paycheck, you accrued 4.616 hours.
I love 507.9, employees shall not be allowed to borrow vacation against possible future accruals. I'll be glad to pay you on Tuesday for a hamburger today.
That's another part of time clock that, well, because we have a lot of departments that do that. And you
Yeah.
don't find out it's being done until the employee is fired or terminates, or then you go, how did this person use 56 hours in their of vacation and sick time in their second month? It's because they were loaned, and on that paper time sheet, it says, you owe me 16 hours from this month. No.
There's you a bookkeeping nightmare. And,
Yeah.
Well, it's all,
It
it's every.
It is, and it requires us to do audits, and what they don't understand is that their accrual is on their anniversary date. They don't get it before, they have to wait till their anniversary date to get their 7 hours.
Yeah, like, employees may not receive pay in lieu of taking time off under this policy. That's cut and dry.
Mm-hmm.
End of question.
And in my thinking, when that happens, you start over. You've got to work 4 40-hour weeks to start your accruals again. And your anniversary date changes to the time you finish those 4 40-hour weeks.
That is what it says.
It's what it says. It's hard to follow.
All right, anything else on?
The only thing, and I know we've covered it over and over in the policy, but 5.0713, I know we've had others that come in and say, I've got more accruals than the maximum bank. So do we want to restate that in 5.13 that employee will only be paid for actual hours worked prior, let's see, vacation hours remaining in the employee's bank at termination are subject to audit prior to being paid, and will only be paid out to the maximum amount
Allowed by the policy.
By the policy. just restate that,
Mhm.
because that's come up over and over again. Well, I've got
Correct.
975 hours that you owe me for.
Well, and that's the thing, if you're on time clock and we're actually trying, and they're using it appropriately, now we're getting everybody in, it will not allow them to accrue past their max. It just
Yeah.
doesn't accrue it.
Okay.
So if they hit their 120 and that's where their max is and they haven't
That's it.
used any time, it will not accrue 7 more hours or 11 or 10 hours. It stops at 120 until they've used time, and then it will start accruing again.
Okay.
Tanya, do employees sign anything when they come on and receive the policy manual indicating that they've
Yes.
read and received? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
I guess we will need to do that to everyone again with the modifications happening.
Yes.
Yes, that'd be a great idea.
And honestly, we probably ought to put in there when we're doing open enrollment, that they are aware of any changes. We probably ought to have a new statement signed every year that they are aware of any new changes to the policy.
Yeah, when we get it done, let's send everybody a link, and in open
Yeah.
enrollment, let's put that link available.
And no, I think that's good. I'm just thinking for ease of employees, everybody being able to see what has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Do we want a redlined version or a highlighted version that shows what has changed, or is it just read it and?
Well, that'll be hard to go back and do, because
Yeah,
there's
because there's been,
multitude of changes.
Well, if we do it just from this session.
Well, no, I mean,
all
we can compare, I mean, that's part of what Joyce is doing.
Mhm.
We could compare the very first draft versus what it looks like at the end, and
The first draft.
Just
have
do
to-
one
well,
first
we have to
draft
go
at the
back
end.
to
Yeah.
the 17 policy when it was first approved, and whatever that was, that was the last.
oh, was the
approved.
one we started, or y'all started with last year, that wasn't the base version?
No.
No.
No,
been
and it's
going
got
on.
changes, but it's.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah,
It
They're
will be
very
like
difficult to
April
do.
17, that was the last one that was fully adopted by the court.
We will just
Right.
tell
There have
everyone,
been-
assume
there have been
everything is
court
different.
orders. Yeah, there've been court
better
orders
read
through
it.
the years to change sections, so.
Okay, well then maybe in the future, after we get this good baseline new version done, as changes happen, people will need to know, so, okay.
So we are gonna put that restatement
Yes.
back in.
Yes, I have
Thank
it
you.
subject to audit prior to being paid and will only be paid at the maximum amount allowed by the county,
But-
Policy.
but-
By county
Yeah.
policy.
by county policy. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
And that's 180, correct?
Depends on your years of
Depending.
service, so 120 if
Under
it's
10.
10 years or less, and 180 if it's over.
Okay, are y'all, I think, what I'm thinking, it's 11:25. We can get through 508, which is sick leave, and 509, which is bereavement leave.
Mm-hmm.
Look good to me.
Oh, were you further ahead?
No.
Okay.
I was already looking at the bereavement leave here, and it reminds me of a time that I know an old kid in high school. His maternal grandmother died 4 times his senior year, and then showed up for graduation. It was a little.
Getting an unusual
I'm
family
sure.
situation.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not usual, but showed up and looking good. This all looks pretty standard, I think, just from.
Tanya, the only thing I see is we need to clarify that sick time, accrued sick time is not paid out at termination.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see. Do we wanna make it a 5.8,
It's junk.
5.08.3, or do I want to add it under the, ABC bullets as a D?
I think it needs a full statement.
Okay.
I think it's gonna need its own statement.
3. Accrued sick time is not paid out.
You know, we had,
Okay, got it.
we had a COVID policy and then we modified it, I think, several months ago, wasn't it, that we restated our policy, and that's not in here.
The
The
code.
COVID policy no longer exists,
Yeah.
we terminated it.
Okay, well, I knew we'd modified it, and,
It's now been terminated, so we don't pay out 2 weeks of COVID anymore. Now you just have to use your sick time.
thank God. Well, I tell you, hindsight is 20/20 on that deal, isn't it? It's,
Thank God it was in 2020 and not now.
yeah. I
I
noticed
passed it.
hospitals gone back on mask,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, the new strain is actually supposed to be highly contagious. I think it's called Kraken.
Kraken.
This
Yeah.
strain.
Let's come up with the most menacing name we can
Wait a
think
minute.
of. Next one's El Diablo, or
It's called what? Kraken?
the Kraken.
Kraken.
They released the Kraken.
It's just,
Next one's Spawn of Satan.
You can't make this up, can you? You really can't. Oh, my.
Yeah, let's keep everybody scared.
You know, I know quite,
yeah, fear mongering.
Yeah.
I know quite a few people that have had it though, over the last month or so. But none of them have been severe, so that's good.
Yeah, I think everything, with that one addition, everything looks good and sick leave.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's, on the FMLA, do we want to call that out and as its own, that they need to report that? I mean, it's at the end of a sentence. But that seems to be an ongoing issue that they're not reporting FMLA.
Well, we had a whole section on it earlier in the document, didn't
It's hard to
Yeah,
remember.
we? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and that needs to be done very timely,
Yeah,
okay,
Yeah.
as I understand. That makes it a whole lot better if you do it.
if that, we don't put that on its own $5.
I thought we had a whole FMLA section.
And we may, Cheryl,
That's what I was looking
it's
for.
hard to remember everything that we've done.
Look here.
Seems like it's in that long section too.
Yeah, it is.
maybe.
I think it is. Personally deferred.
Mhm.
It's in here, I know it. Oh, family and medical leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5. Should be.
It only applies if you're a member of the family.
Oh, it's later, Mark, it's 5.16.
5.16, yeah.
It's got its own section.
Okay.
I could have sworn we already talked about that.
Yeah.
I just messed up my pages.
All right, moving on to bereavement.
I'm glad to see in the sick leave deal here, we have a note in there for mental incapacity, because that could hit at any time, you know?
It's taking a mental health day, come on.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes several times a day, as a matter of fact. Yeah, depending on the circumstances.
Okay, bereavement's pretty clear.
I would assume that's kind of a standard, maybe federal guideline, or,
It is kind of based off the federal. Federal does 3 and 2.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed you didn't use consanguinity in this section because it's such a fun word.
I have trouble saying
No
that.
one can know what that.
Consanguinity.
Yeah.
That's just how.
Can you be
You're
vaccinated for that? Oh my. You've been hanging around with the guys down in Austin, and
Sure, y'all don't wanna talk about exempt, non-exempt today? Bring that.
No,
Cheryl says no. I think we've made
Okay.
good progress.
Use that in
We're
a
starting
sentence
on
three there.
5.10, excused other duties, right?
yeah.
Okay,
Oh, boy.
I think the end is in sight on this thing.
it really is.
It's 22
Yeah.
more pages.
And the attachments, speaking of consanguinity, I am gonna use a new nepotism chart that Brendan sent that is so much better than the one we have in there. So I'll get it to Joyce.
Okay. All right, any other questions or matters to take up today? All right, it is 11:32 and this meeting is adjourned.
How's it-